Listen intently. What you are about to hear will permanently alter your presence in every room you step into for the rest of your days. Most individuals forfeit an interaction before a single syllable escapes their lips. They surrender with their eyes. They surrender through their breathing. They fail because of a desperate craving to be validated by a person who never intended to respect them. You assume you are engaging with reason, but you are actually bleeding out emotionally, and your opponent detects that vulnerability instantly. That is the primary doctrine Machiavelli would forge into your soul. The individual who craves victory has already surrendered because desire is a collar others can pull. Every time you escalate your volume, you hand over your authority. Every time you over-explain, you advertise your insecurity. Every time you hunt for validation during a conflict, you diminish yourself. True authority is never loud. True authority is never frantic. True authority does not flinch under disrespect, does not panic when cornered, and never begs an audience for sympathy. Machiavelli understood that supreme influence observes. It waits. It permits the adversary to suffocate in the very chaos they created. From this second onward, you cease reacting like a wounded child. You begin operating like a calculating strategist who has already mapped out the conclusion. You will master the art of the devastating surgical response, the one that lands flawlessly, alters the dynamic, and lingers long after the encounter concludes. The objective was never simply to win a petty dispute. The objective was always to evolve into the precise archetype that no one dares to challenge twice. This evolution starts right now. Sever the emotion. Weaponize the mind before you memorize a single clever retort, a single phrase of verbal combat. You must absorb this fundamental truth. The individual who governs their own facial expression governs the entire confrontation. Emotion is the most glaring breach in your defenses. Yet most people walk through life exposed, completely blind to why they are constantly defeated. The exact instant your posture stiffens, they have decoded your thoughts. The millisecond your pitch ascends, they have gauged your limits. The moment your eyes flash with resentment, they have exposed your insecurity. And they will strike that exact spot repeatedly until you break down. Machiavelli recognized a profound truth that modern society has completely erased. Feelings themselves are not a total liability, but exposing those feelings at an inappropriate time is absolute tactical self-destruction. A chilled intellect is a position of absolute rule. A frantic heart is a prison cell. Therefore, when a calculated insult is thrown, you do not react. When a false allegation is leveled, you do not desperately rush to object. When everyone turns their gaze toward you, anticipating an outburst, you offer nothing but absolute, chilling stillness. That coldness transforms into a fortress they can never breach. Condition yourself in isolation so you can dominate in the open. Monitor your respiration when someone attempts to provoke you. Restrain it. Make it deeper. Allow your shoulders to settle while their posture grows tense. Let your vocal delivery soften while theirs sharpens into panic. That stark asymmetry alone completely rewrites who commands the environment. An individual who cannot be manipulated cannot be dominated. And an individual who cannot be dominated can never be bested. You will soon perceive a phenomenon that is beautifully ruthless. The more composed you remain, the more unhinged your adversary becomes. Their rising volume transforms into an open admission of failure. Their internal chaos becomes your ultimate leverage. While they completely drain their energy trying to rattle an unmoving monument, you stand completely unbothered, unreachable, and entirely detached. Watching them bury their own position with the exact emotional poison they tried to inject into you. The instrument of absolute silence there is an auditory force far more intimidating than any insult ever whispered, and that force is total, absolute nothingness. Silence is a weapon that most people lack the internal discipline to wield. They cannot tolerate a vacuum. They sense an awkward pause and desperately scramble to fill it with noise. They misinterpret a quiet room as a sign of vulnerability, when in reality, structured quiet is the ultimate manifestation of dominance an individual can display in a chaotic environment. When an adversary launches an offensive, refuse to provide an immediate reply. Allow their words to linger in the air like a foul mist. Let everyone present feel the immense weight of your refusal to engage on their level. Observe the immediate psychological shift. The aggressor will begin to fidget, to reiterate their points, to soften their stance, and to frantically negotiate with an unmoving wall that offers zero resistance. This is the timeless law Machiavelli echoed across generations of power dynamics. The individual who speaks last carries the greatest authority, and the individual who speaks least commands the deepest anxiety. Silence systematically forces your opponent to keep exposing their thoughts. A person who cannot stop talking will eventually reveal their vulnerabilities, their secrets, their true intentions, and their ultimate insecurity. You do not need to actively break them down. You merely need to wait, and they will completely dismantle themselves in a desperate bid to extract a reaction you choose to withhold. Cultivate the art of the extended pause. Master the unwavering gaze. Perfect the slow, deliberate blink that signals, I acknowledge your words, and you are utterly inconsequential. When you finally choose to speak, your voice will carry the massive leverage of every moment you withheld it. The entire room will lean in closer, because they have realized your communication is a rare commodity, and rare commodities command immense value. Loud individuals are forgotten by the next sunrise. Quiet strategists leave an imprint that lasts for decades. Deploy your silence precisely like a marksman selects ammunition, with calculating patience, absolute precision, and the total certainty that a single shot is all it takes. Ownership of reality. The individual who establishes the core reality of an interaction completely dominates the environment. Every human exchange possesses an invisible architecture, a hidden frame that dictates whose version of reality everyone is currently standing within. Most people lose their daily battles simply because they agreed to conduct the argument inside a blueprint designed by their opponent. Frame control is the ultimate Machiavellian discipline of completely rejecting the game you are presented with, and quietly constructing an entirely new foundation beneath everyone's feet. When an adversary confronts you, they are not merely projecting words. They are offering you a rigid frame, a specific definition of the interaction where they occupy the role of the righteous judge, and you are cast as the defensive accused. The unrefined individual immediately steps right into that trap and begins defending their character within rules they had no part in drafting. The dangerous individual executes an entirely different maneuver. They pause, they analyze the frame, then they completely replace it. If an opponent classifies a tense conversation as a hostile fight, you reframe it as a simple misunderstanding that requires objective analysis. If they attempt to label your logic as completely irrational, you reframe the moment as an excellent opportunity to slow down and audit the verified data. If they desperately attempt to position themselves as an absolute victim, you reframe the environment as a gathering of mature adults who are completely above theatrical displays. You must never, under any circumstances, debate within their definitions. The exact moment you adopt their terminology, you have already acknowledged their authority. Speak with enough deliberation that your reality commands immense weight. Speak with enough certainty that your worldview possesses its own gravity. Do not explicitly announce that you are shifting the perspective. Simply conduct yourself as if your version of the current moment is already the absolute, indisputable truth, and watch the entire room naturally drift toward your axis. The individual who defines the situation inevitably dictates the final outcome. The person who names the moment ultimately owns the moment. Machiavelli recognized that supreme power is almost never seized by brute force alone. It is captured through the quiet, undisputed authorship of reality itself. Cease defending your character within their narrative, and start dictating the script they are forced to inhabit. The smile that concludes "was there" is a specific caliber of composure that has absolutely nothing to do with peace. And the exact moment you comprehend this distinction, you will become entirely impossible to rattle. Most observers completely mistake true composure for passive compliance. But weaponized calmness is a different phenomenon entirely. It is the unwavering, calculated gaze of an apex predator who has already mapped out exactly how the encounter concludes. It is the measured vocal delivery that refuses to rise. It is the subtle, knowing smile that manifests at the precise millisecond your opponent anticipated an explosion of fury. It is the completely relaxed posture standing directly across from their tightly clenched fists. It is the deep, controlled respiration answering their frantic, shallow breathing. It is the soft, level tone responding to their screeching accusations. This specific composure is never the absence of raw authority. It is the absolute concentration of it. Machiavelli was fully aware that nothing completely terrifies an aggressive individual more than a detached person who absolutely refuses to match their emotional temperature. Volume only achieves its objective when it is actively mirrored. The exact instant you refuse to escalate, the moment you maintain a gentle smile while they lose their mind, the second your vocal pitch drops as theirs climbs, you have systematically commandeered the entire dynamic without expending a single shred of physical effort. They will sense this shift internally long before they can consciously process it. They will feel remarkably small without ever understanding the underlying cause. They will appear completely foolish in front of the entire room without being able to pinpoint why they are failing. That is the sheer brilliance of weaponized composure. It never announces its presence. It simply rewrites the gravitational pull of the interaction until they look like an erratic performer and you look like the presiding authority. Train your face to soften the exact moment others harden theirs. Train your voice to decelerate when others accelerate their speech. Condition your eyes to maintain direct contact a beat longer than what is conventional or comfortable. True composure is not an internal feeling you wait for. True composure is a garment you actively put on, and when worn properly, it transforms into an armor that no insult can pierce, and an asset that no aggressor can outlast. Redirect the spotlight the exact moment you begin defending your actions. You have implicitly confessed to a crime. This is the psychological quicksand that the vast majority of individuals step into without ever realizing their mistake. They hold a naive belief that explaining their motives will clear their reputation, that justifying their choices proves their integrity, and that stacking endless words on top of an accusation will somehow make the initial attack vanish into thin air. It accomplishes the exact opposite. Every single defense you offer is simply another weapon you hand directly to your adversary. And they will use those exact materials to construct an even larger barrier around your social standing. Machiavelli fully understood that elaborate explanation is the natural language of the cornered individual. And a cornered individual has already completely lost control of the room. Therefore, you must master the high-level art of the strategic redirect, the silent, fluid pivot that transforms every outward accusation into an urgent question they must answer. every external insult into an unforgiving mirror they must confront, and every sudden offensive into a dangerous territory they are completely unprepared to defend. When an opponent claims you are being entirely self-serving, do not list your historical sacrifices. Ask them why that specific concept was the absolute first weapon they chose to grab. When they assert that you are completely inadequate, do not attempt to showcase your accomplishments. Observe out loud how desperately they seem to need you to be inferior, just so they can feel secure. The strategic redirect never explicitly denies the assault, because a formal denial gives the accusation far too much unearned validity. The redirect simply shifts the entire focus of the environment. The spotlight is the only real prize in any verbal conflict. They entered the interaction fully intending to place you under a microscope, yet within a matter of seconds, they find themselves standing entirely exposed under the harsh glare of examination. Pay close attention to how the hyper-aggressive people in your life constantly demand immediate answers, while never offering any transparency of their own. That is the foundational trick of social leverage, and you now possess the exact blueprint required to completely invert it. You are not here to validate your worth to individuals who arrived with their final verdict already written in stone. You are here to make them realize, slowly and deeply uncomfortably, that the legal trial they attempted to initiate has completely spun out of their control, and they are now sitting directly in the witness box. The ultimate move of influence. Not every petty conflict deserves a single drop of your energy. The individual who has failed to grasp this concept will spend their entire existence bleeding out for meaningless disputes that no one will care to remember by tomorrow morning. The deliberate walk away is the single most misunderstood asset in the entire tactical arsenal. The unrefined mind views a departure as an act of cowardice, when in reality, it represents the absolute highest tier of dominance a human being can execute. To walk away is to declare, without deploying a single spoken word, that the entire interaction has fallen completely beneath the threshold of your presence. It signals that the individual standing across from you has fundamentally failed to earn the distinct privilege of your time. It proves that the environment itself has degraded far below the standard of your attention. Machiavelli recognized a fundamental law of human economy. Engagement is a premium currency, and you must never waste your currency on individuals who lack the assets to match its value. When you intuitively sense that a conversation has dissolved into mere theatrical performance, when you recognize that your opponent is no longer communicating to reach an understanding but is simply acting out to inflict a wound, when you see with absolute clarity that their ultimate goal is not a resolution but emotional exhaustion, you do not escalate the conflict. You exit. You depart calmly. You move slowly. You do so without slamming any doors, without engaging in dramatic exits, and without needing the loud, desperate final word of an insecure mind. The dangerous strategist simply stands up, offers a detached, subtle nod, and removes themselves entirely from a stage that no longer commands their performance. Becoming unreachable, you have successfully navigated through the core principles of psychological dominance, and the individual standing here at the conclusion of this text is fundamentally different from the person who began reading it. You entered this space reactive, highly defensive, and desperately eager to win petty arguments. You are departing as something infinitely colder, sharper, quieter, and immeasurably more formidable. You now possess the clarity to see that the loud person inevitably loses. The emotional individual constantly bleeds out leverage. The defensive person inadvertently confesses, and the explaining individual kneels before their judge. You now recognize with absolute certainty that strategic silence is a sharp blade, that controlled composure is a massive asset, that targeted questions are precise scalpels, that personal frames are absolute kingdoms, and that walking away is a position of supreme authority that most people are simply too weak to occupy. Niccolo Machiavelli did not document these strategic insights so you could merely memorize them for a trivia game. He engineered them so you could fundamentally embody them in your daily life. Leave a comment below with exact declaration of intent written in your own words, and hit the subscribe button.